Good day. Okay, so today we're going to continue with our practicing and refactoring functions that are from the 5 Lines of Code book from Christian Clausen. And what we'll do is basically our goals for today. We're going to do some practice of the pushing code into classes, that refactoring exercise. So if we practice what we're doing, then we'll get better at it and it'll start to come naturally. So that's kind of what we're hoping to do today, is just sort of practice going through this effort a couple of times. In doing that, we will discuss some of the benefits of object composition over inheritance. It's a design principle that is helpful in creating more maintainable code. And finally, we'll be, if we have time at the end, we'll introduce the idea of unifying similar classes. It's another refactoring step that is really helpful and really well described in this book. So with that said, let's do this thing. Okay. Now, one thing I wanted to mention that where we left off when Yvonne joined the discussion a couple weeks ago, I kind of got distracted and I took this piece of code and stuck this into the color of tile code. And this really needs to be part of the draw map code. So I'm going to just go ahead and put it back. Now, what we did here for the color of tile, we went and moved all the colors up into the classes. And we didn't do that yet. So tell you what, let's just go ahead and do that real quickly here, just in case you weren't a part of that particular discussion. We'll just do that real quick. This is the interface definition, but we'll go ahead and put it in class 2, just it's easier to do that. Move that. Void. So this doesn't return anything, but it sets the color of the tile for whatever tile is at that particular location. So all right, so we got this here. So what we'll do is we'll very quickly go and put that in all the code. Block 1, key 2, oops, and block 2. All right. So our first class is air. So basically what we'll do is we'll say if it's air, then we'll set the color. Well, none of these is air, so we're not going to set the color for air because color doesn't have any air. All right, this is flux, so that's the first one. So we'll set that color there. Right, this is unbreakable, so that's right there. We'll set that color. This is player. So let's see, player is not any of these, so we just won't set the color. This is stone. So there's stone, right? So that's going to be our color for stone. Falling stone will be the same. Falling stone. This is box. Oops. Sorry. Now the way that I can tell it's box is I can see it right up here. It tells what method I'm in, just in case you didn't know that little trick about how this works. So I can't necessarily see it, but this is falling box. So set that there. This is key 1. And that's right there. This is lock 1. Okay. Key 2. Right there. And lock 2. All right, so and then color of tile will now do this. Map dot color of tile. That's the function, color of tile. So we go here, map.xy dot color of tile. G, X, Y. Here we go. So that compiles, we'll build it. We will make sure it still works and loads properly. All right, box moves, the locks unlock, and the colors are set the way we expect them to be. Now, this is one line, so we will go ahead and inline this, take out that call, and okay, make sure that still works. Fortunately, this is quick to test. So, and we'll look and see real quickly what we did. We moved the color of tile. Basically, we did the setting of the color in the objects and took it out of this function down here. And basically, we're able to get rid of that function, move the functionality into the object where it makes more sense to have it. Okay, so we will go to this. And we will say we push color of tile functionality to tile object. Okay, and we'll add that. And one thing you may have noticed is that we've got this sort of description down here at the bottom. I went and grabbed the latest from Christian's GitHub. He went and updated it. This book is still in the process of being written, so he's updating stuff as he goes along. So we'll just go ahead and add these things. So updated test web page. Right. Yeah, we don't need that. Okay. So, we've just, that's the push code into class refactoring. All right. Now, we will go back here, and if you look at the draw map function, you see how we've got this if statement. that is, it breaks our rule of not having an, you only want to have an if on the first line of a method. So what we will do is we will extract that. No refactorings available. What? I wonder if I messed up my VS Code. Let's try that again. Load up my VS Code. And here we are, draw a map. And I want to, yeah, I must have, I don't know what happened there. Extract the function and global scope. So what I'm going to do is going to extract this if statement and draw map into a function called draw, draw tile. That's effectively what it's doing. It's taking this location. If it's not air or player, then it's going to basically fill the rectangle with the color that we just set. Okay, so and now we'll say, why don't we take this draw tile and push it up into the class so we can get a little more practice with that. So we'll take this draw tile and we'll come up here and we'll add a draw tile method. And let's go ahead and grab this Y, X, and G. Oh man, before I do that, let's go back down to let's make that X, G, X, and Y like we have up here, right? G, X, and Y. X, Y. Okay. Now we'll go back up. We'll put it up here. Put this in our interface. Returns a void. Right. And then we'll just take this and we will go and insert that into every class. Okay. Now, so we've got air. And so basically we're saying if it's not air or player, then we'll do this. Well, this is air, so we don't want to do anything. So we'll just not do anything. This is flux, which is not air or player, so we will do this. Unbreakable, we'll do this. Player, that is player, so we won't do anything. Stone, we'll do this. Falling stone, we'll do this. Everything else, basically, we're going to do this. So all right. So now we've got this, and so we'll go here, say map YX instead of is air, we'll say draw tile G, X, Y. Right? So build it, make sure it works. It does in fact compile. We'll go and see if it continues to do it the way we expect it to. Looks like colors are being updated as we hoped they would. This is a single line. So again, we will just inline it here instead of having the function call. And we're getting pretty good at this pushing functions into classes. Build it again just to make sure we didn't forget about something. Everything still looks good. Alrighty then. So now we'll do a quick look over. So we moved the draw tile. We pushed the draw tile functionality into the objects, right? So here we are. We go back to here. Push draw tile functionality into tile objects. There we go. Okay, so you got the color of tile. Basically, we added this color of tile and this draw tile method. Now, some people may say, well, you know, you got this draw tile functionality here, and then you duplicate it here and here. You're duplicating it about 10 times up here. What's the deal with that? Isn't it better to have that in a single function down at the bottom? Well, this is where we'll go back to sort of our design discussion. There's a book called Design Patterns. That's written by the Gang of Four. This is one of your essential references that you'll need to really know about. If anyone who this came out when I was early in my career, 1994. So yeah, it came out early in my career, and it's a really a foundational book. You really if you want to be able to converse with other developers in an effective way, you really should know your design patterns. And the introduction of the Design Patterns book has some excellent design principles discussed. And one of the principles, if you look on page 20, they talk about favor object composition over class inheritance. So the point of this is that, you know, if you have it depend upon an interface, then every class that inherits from this interface is going to have to implement these methods, okay? So if I add a new type of object on this game, and what I'm going to need to do is create its description by adding a method. I specifically have to have it add a method that answers a question here. And in some cases, it doesn't. So basically, I'll just leave it empty. But if I have like an abstract class or a primary object that I inherit from that by default implements everything, then I've got to go and override it. I've got to know what that foundational class does, and I have to know whether or not it's appropriate to me, because the implementation may or may not be appropriate for me, and it may be unneeded, completely unneeded. So by having a common interface that you use for any new object to be added, then it's only defining what's necessary for this particular object. And by having by not using inheritance to do that, you're not complicating the scope of function calls and forcing functionality onto an object that that may not need it. Okay. Now let's we'll see if we can how how far we can get along here. Let's go to the move horizontal horizontal. You're not going there. Okay, we're here, here. Move horizontal. There we go. The move horizontal function. So this has a bunch of if statements in it and else's, and this is another smell that we are concerned about, and we'd like to clean it up. But before we do that, we need to simplify it a little bit. So one of the first things we notice is we've got this or statement here. It's is flux or is air. And then another one here is stone or is box. So if you look at the game, oops, sorry, wrong one. If you look at the game here, the flux is this green part and the air is the white part. So basically, you know, the stone can move through the flux or the air, or the player can move through the flux or the air without any problem. So Christian calls that is edible. And that's a good name. All right. And then if you also noticed the box and the stones, they are pushable. Well, if you don't go and mess things up trying to talk and do stuff at the same time. So you see that the box and the stone is they both move, and if we could get over next to the stone, we'd see that we could push it. So basically, we're going to call that pushable for the box and the stone, and edible for the air and the flux. All right, so what we'll do is we'll take this code right here, the is flux and is air. We'll go up to the top, and we will add a method called is edible. And that will return a Boolean. Okay, we'll add a function to each. Is edible. We will return basically the logic. Oops, the logic that we had there. Okay, instead of this map thing, it'll be this. This. Let's put it all on one line. Okay, so is edible. So that's is flux or is air. So really, we know this already. So air or flux, that's the first two, will be true, and everything else will be false. So I'll just, rather than go through all of that, I'm gonna save some time and simplify it because we really don't have a lot of time left. We'll change this, return true. And here we'll return true. And this will return false. All right. And so if we go back to move horizontal, see that we can change this from is flux or is air to is edible. And do that, get rid of that. And I need to add a parenthesis there. So we've simplified that if statement some, and I don't want that. Okay, good. So let's make sure I didn't break anything. Okay, compiles, it runs, edible stuff is still edible, and pushable stuff is still pushable. Good. So that being said, let's go ahead and we will check this in. Create is editable, simplify logic. Create this editable in tiles. Objects to simplify the logic. Yeah, well. Okay, so we'll check that in. So we'll do the same thing here with this is stone and is, I'm sorry, is that right? Is stone and is box? Wait a second here. Is stone and is, yeah, right. So is stone and is box. Sorry. So we'll change that. We will add a function called is pushable. Is pushable. Return we just had. And again, we'll replace all this stuff with this. And that only works for if it's a stone or if it's a box. Well, that means that for air, this will return false. We just want stone or box. So, oops. It's pushable, stone or box. Nope. Is that a stone or box? Nope. Player is not a stone or box. Stone is. Falling stone is not a stone. But a box falling box. Key 1 is not. Lock 1 is not. Key 2 is not. Lock 2 is not. Okay. So move horizontal will now go and change this to is pushable. Get rid of that. So basically that simplifies that logic. And we will build this. Make sure it still works. Compiles. I can still push stuff. I can still eat stuff. And so this is good. All right. So now I will go ahead and check this in. Similar thing. I'll say that create is pushable in tile objects to simplify logic. All right, good. This is also, well, it's primarily to facilitate the refactoring that we're about to do, okay? So now we have this move horizontal, and it's just got a bunch of simple checks here. And what we'll do is we will push this to a class, all right? So let's go up here, go to air, we have a move horizontal, right? And that here, you gotta put it in the interface, void. So move horizontal, take all this. Oops. let's keep the formatting nice. Grab that. Put that into every object. All right, now move horizontal. So this is, I want to say if it is edible, well, this is edible. So we will do this. First thing, what did I just do? So we will do this thing here and we won't do the rest. Okay, make that easier to read. Flux, is that edible? Is true, yes. So we'll do the first thing and not the rest. Okay, unbreakable, is that edible? No, and it's not pushable either. So it's not one of the first ones. It's not key 1 and it's not key 2. So we do nothing here. For a player, is that edible or pushable? Nope. And it's none of these other things, so we'll do nothing for there too. Stone is not edible, but it is pushable. So we won't do this part, but we'll do the pushable part. Oops. Oh, so if it's pushable and it's air and, oh, wow. So what we'll do is here. There. So it's pushable and it's not, So we got to check to see if it's air and it's if it's pushable, and the next one's not air, and the one above is air. Oh no, the one's, oh dear. Did I misunderstand something here? This is supposed to. Let's look at the book. When all else fails, go back to the book. Right here. No, not here. Yeah, presentation's not going on. Here we go. Right. So we look at the book. Move horizontal. So we do all this. Move player DX. Move oh, DX number. I see. So for box, you've got your move X, player Y plus 1, player Y plus DX. So I guess you got to do a DX thing. So we pass in that DX. Well, we pass in DX. Oh, duh. No wonder it's working just fine. So if we do all that, we tile, and we can get rid of all this other stuff. So if it's pushable and all that other stuff is true, then we're good. Did I break something? Okay, so if this, that, oh, I see. So I got to keep that curly brace. Okay, sorry for the distraction. I get confused sometimes. That's what happens when you're doing, so it's neither pushable nor horizontal. This is a falling stone. So it's not air, it's not pushable, and it's not horizontal, and it's none of these other things. So I'll just do that. Tile 2, no, I'm sorry, box is not edible, but it is pushable. So it is pushable. So we'll keep all of that and we'll get rid of this. falling box is neither, and it's not those other things. So move that. Key 1 is none of these things, but it is a key 1. So we'll do this remove lock thing. Lock 1 is none of these things, so we don't do anything. And key 2 is this one here, that is a key 2. So we'll do that remove lock thing. And lock 2 is none of these things. So we don't do anything. All right, so there's our move horizontal. And let's go ahead and get these lined up. Nothing has a problem. Move horizontal. There. So now we will do this. Say move horizontal and be dx. Come on. Right. Okay. Man, that took longer than I expected it to. Sorry about that. So we'll go and make sure that I didn't break anything inadvertently with my. All right, everything still moves and eats and all that sort of thing. Okay, and frankly, as long as we're here doing this, we've got move horizontal. I wonder where is move horizontal called? Horizontal is called in all these places. It's also called here and here. So it's called in a couple of places. So in the class right and left, so that's in the handle method. So we'll keep that the way it is for now. As long as we're looking at it, why don't we do that with move vertical too? Oh, look, is flux, is air. That sounds familiar. So if something is flux or is air, that is edible, right? So is edible, if it's air, is true. Is edible, if it's flux, is true. So let's go back down here. Move vertical. So let's change this to is edible. And okay. And now we can do this move vertical up here too, right? So if it is edible, is key 1 or is key 2? That's really all we care about. So let's go there. This should be fun. Well, before we do that, let's look at what we changed, and we'll check in. We want to check in one thing at a time, just in case, right? So we've got move vertical, move horizontal. So we pushed the move horizontal functionality into the tiles, and actually it looks a lot simpler there. So let's do that. Pushed move horizontal functionality into tile objects. Excellent. Yeah. Save all and commit. Uh-oh. Wait a second. I guess, well, that's right. I made that one extra change. Make sure I didn't break anything. Okay, good. I didn't break anything by introducing that one variable. So here, so I've got this. I want to stage that and I'll check it in. Good. And now we will look at pushing move vertical into the classes. So let's do this thing. Move horizontal, move vertical. I'm betting that's going to be, well, yeah, that'll be a dy colon number. Okay, so there's move vertical. Golly. Okay, got that. And we will go ahead and quickly insert that into every class. Okay, vertical. So now this is, if it's edible, is this edible? It is edible. Then we will move the tile. Okay, right. Flux is edible, so we'll do this move tile. I got that in there twice. That's kind of silly. Unbreakable is none of these. It's not edible. Just those two are edible, and the other is key 1 or key 2. So the rest of these will be empty. Probably should have just kept that empty then, huh? That's okay. This doesn't take long. Key 1 is this one right here. Lock 1 is none of these. Key 2 is right here. And lock 2 is none of them. There we go. So we've gone and pushed all of that. And now we can go to move vertical here, here, and go here. Boom, map player, D1, DY. Move to tile, right? DY dot move vertical. Right, dx plus dy, right. Or player y plus dy. So there you go. So move vertical, insert dy. Right. Okay. It compiles. You can see that there's no red over here. It compiles. We will go ahead and test it real quick. And it still works. Good. So let's go ahead and I'll check this in. Pushed, move vertical functionality. Into All right, so now, since we're here, we'll take a look at this. I mean, this has started to get kind of big. We've got all these functions that are here. What we'll do now is clean up a little bit and remove functions that aren't used, okay? So you got is error, and we'll see whether that's used. That is in fact used. Is flux, and looks like that is not used. So if I delete is flux, I don't think anyone's gonna miss it. Okay, no red. How about is unbreakable? That's not used. So what I'm doing is, since all of this is in one file, I'm just checking to see all my classes are defined up here in the top. And so I'm checking to see if I go and search for here and it wraps around to the top of the file, that means that none of the code that's actually doing the work is using it. The way you can do this in a bigger system is you just remove something, you compile it, and you see if there's a problem. So in this case, I can see that there isn't a problem. So is player, and looks like is player is not used either. So oops. So is player, how about is stone? Is stone is used. Okay, is falling stone is used, is box is used, is falling box is used, is key one used, is lock one used. I'm sure the other two are used as well. Is key two. Hello. Is key two. Flux interface. That's not used? That's not used, then I must have broken something, huh? Really? Key one is not used? Wait a second, really? That's cool. Is key one? So, sorry, I'm getting tired. Get rid of that. Okay, let's make that go away. Okay, how about is lock one? Is used, okay. Right, is key two? Is not used. Look at that. I figured that a key would be used everywhere as a lock's used, and I'm wrong. Ha ha. Is lock two is used. Color tile, we just defined those, so those are used. Draw tile is edible, is not used anymore. Interesting. So is pushable, is not used. Oops, it is used right here. Okay, so we got to keep is pushable, at least for now. All right. let's look at this is pushable thing here. Is pushable is true. So, I mean, it's here. Is it used anywhere else? In a check, it's used here, and that's true. The only place it's used, it's true. So, so let's find it. Let's go ahead and remove is pushable. There, so we know that this is true because it says it's pushable. Well, it did before I deleted it. It said is pushable is true. Delete. Oh my goodness. And I saw, you see something else I forgot to do? Here. See, that is pushable is true. Okay, so look at that. This. Oh, so that's not a this. Okay. First one was a this, but this is not a this. Okay, well, so here I thought that having those maps in there was going to be a problem, but evidently worked. Well, let's see if it works. We'll compile it. It compiles, and we will test it. And look at that. Everything continues to work. Okay, so what did we do here? Basically, all we did was we removed unused code. All right, so let's go ahead and check that in. Removed unused function calls. Okay, man, we only have a few minutes, and well, okay, so we can do one more thing similar to what we did before. So if we go down here to, not you, go in here to update tile. You see here we've got an or statement here and an or statement here. So similar to before where we had the air and flux and made that is edible, and the box and stone and made that is pushable, we've got is stone and is falling stone, and then you got is box and is falling box. And they're separated by an or. So let's go ahead and simplify the logic on this too, so that we can clean up just like we did up above. So what we'll do is we'll grab that and we'll call this stony, is stony, okay? So we'll go up here, we'll add to the interface is stony. Boolean. Okay. Is stony return, come on, return. Yeah, there, that would be this. So if this is stone or this is falling stone. So let's go ahead and quickly add those. Okay, so it's stony is air, stone, or falling stone? So we'll return false. Stone or falling stone, false. I should do this a simpler way. Player is not stone or falling stone. Tile. Oh, this is stone. Okay, stony, stone. So this will return true. And this will return true. And this turn false. Okay, so we got is stony. And well, yeah, let's go back down to where we were. That was in the update tile. Change that to is stony. All right, is stony. Build that. And make sure we didn't break anything. All right, good. So we'll quickly look at what we changed. We basically created is stony. We'll just check that. So created is stony. Method to simplify logic and facilitate refactoring. That's really what we're doing. No stage of changes, no stages? Yes, go ahead and do that. All right. Here, we got this. Now, update tile is stony, is air. Now, down here, you got is box, the boxy thing. So, change this to is boxy. So, we go here. Is boxy. Boolean is boxy. Turn false. So that's air. So boxy is either box or falling box. So flux is not. Unbreakable is not. Player is not. Stone is not. Falling stone is not. Box is. Key one is not. Lock one is not. So let's go back to box here. And there. And then we go back down here to update tile. We'll change this to is boxy. We don't need that. All right, so if it is boxy and all this stuff. Okay, so one last check here, we'll build it. All right. Check it, make sure we didn't break anything. This has saved my bacon a few times. Okay, so we'll now go and commit that, change that to added is boxy to tile objects to simplify logic and facilitate refactoring. Okay, so now we have just run out of time. So what we'll do, we didn't get to do the unifying of similar classes. That's kind of a big step. So what we will do, we'll dig into that next time. Basically, you know, yeah, that's going to take a good 15 minutes or so. But basically what we're going to do is you got stone and falling stone, and you'll notice that those look very similar. Then same thing with box and falling box. And so we're going to, since those are similar classes, we're going to combine them in a clever way. And that's a very powerful refactoring. So in this exercise, we got to practice pushing functions to classes, and we got to practice that a number of times. And that's what a lot of this practice is all about, is going through it so that you get good at it, and it comes naturally when you're needing to do it in the field. And so what we'll do is we'll save this simplifying, unifying the similar classes refactoring for next time, so that will be something that's in our muscle memory. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned something. And so we'll let's go back to our time. Yeah, let's do this thing. All right. We'll see y'all next week. Come on.